आप सभी लोग अपने घरों पर सकुशल होंगे तथा कोरोना से बचने के सभी उपाय कर रहे होंगे। भले ही गवर्नमेंट ने थोड़ा बहुत रिलैक्सेशन दिया, लेकिन फिर भी हमें अपना ध्यान रखना ही है। तो जैसा कि कल हम अपने टॉपिक की बात कर रहे थे, एविडेंसेस ऑफ द इवोल्यूशंस, in which we have to talk about yesterday about the paleontology, homology and the analogy, embryology, right? Then we have to talk about some other characters of these, that what are those other things which can be necessary for the evidences of evolutions. First of all, we have to come on the biochemical evidences. If we can talk about the biochemical evidences, which on the basis of some specific chemicals, we can say the metabolic processes. Evenly we can say generally in all organisms the metabolic processes are similar, right? And some new materials and in products, generally we can say they can be always help to provide the energy in the formation of ATP, right, with by the process of the oxidation of those substances. And we can say that these processes, these metabolic processes can always helpful for the providing of the energy one. Then we have to talk about the molecular homology. Molecular homology, as we all know, that the similarity among the animals at the molecular level means generally the different animals are the similar to their molecular basis or molecular level. As we can talk about the giving the examples of the human DNA differ in only 1.8% of its base pair from the chimpanzee's DNA. Means directly we can say comparative. Their DNA is only from the chimpanzees. This DNA is only differ from 1.8% only. The rest of they are the similar one. And we can say there is no difference between the two in the amino acids and sequences of protein cytochromes, especially in the chimpanzee and the human being. So we can directly, indirectly we can say that these substances, even the nucleic acid, nucleotides, base pair of the DNAs, they are the similar one. So indirectly or directly they are, we can say they are the evidences of the evolutions. And we also say that in the same way enzymes perform the same functions in the different organisms. So it indicates the common ancestors among the organisms. We can say when they are the same enzymes, right, they can be perform the same function in different organisms. Means the enzyme is same, their function is same, in different organisms is also same. So we can say the ancestors are generally common to between them. Then we have to talk about the biogeographical evidences, means biography. If we can say on the basis of biogeographical, generally the differential geographical distributions of the different organisms also indicates the common shared ancestors in the restricted regions. Or we can say the habitat isolations has probably restricted these organisms to particular geographical regions on the earth one. Especially as we can say that each species is restricted to the region develop unique features. Means हर स्पेस हर एरिया की जो स्पीसीज होगी वो उसके अंदर कुछ फीचर्स भी स्पेसिफिक रहते हैं. वी कैन से दैट द स्पीसीज प्रेजेंट इन द फार स्प्रेड रीजन्स show the similarity of the ancestors. Generally, if the ancestors are common but the species are living far away from each other, they can be give some difference between themselves. So we can say these are the different structural conditions where we can understand about all such type of things. One, right? So if we talk about the adaptive radiation, first of all you have to know what is adaptive radiation. Generally we can say it is an evolutionary process in which the ancestors or ancestral stock give rise to the new species adapted to new one. Means जो ancestors में जो characters थे, जो evolutionary characters थे, they can be just found into the new organisms. They can be adapted in any new habitat or the new ways of the life, right? Or we can say that when the evolutions of an organism start from a point and then spread it other habitats, then it is known as adaptive radiation. You must know that डायरेक्टली जो है व्हेन द इवोल्यूशन ऑर्गेनिज्म, जो इवोल्यूशन ऑर्गेनिज्म से स्टार्ट फ्रॉम किसी पर्टिकुलर जगह से, ठीक, स्टार्ट कर रहा है, अगर इसमें इवोल्यूशन स्टार्ट हो रहा है, देन स्प्रेड इन अदर हैबिटेट, एक पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट से वो हैबिटेट उठ करके, वो कैरेक्टर्स उठ करके एक पर्टिकुलर हैबिटेट में स्प्रेड कर जाता है. सो दैट इज नोन एज एडेप्टिव रेडिएशन, राइट. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल generally it can be denoted with the help of the Darwin finches. It can be seen into the Darwin finches. If we talk about generally these finches birds were the small black birds which can be observed by the Darwin in the Galapagos Island. He observed the different things in these birds that Darwin had observed. There are many varieties of finches in the same Iceland. Means generally the different varieties of those finches birds are found in the same land. Evenly they are differ from each other in different varieties, different ways. Means that all varieties of finches had evolved from the original seed-eating finches. Means he explained that these all finches, these all varieties are developed from the single seed-eating finches, right? And there was alternation beaks enabling some of becomes insectivorous, some become vegetarians, so on. Means on the basis of their beak structures, right? If you can just see in the diagram, they on the basis of these beak structures they can be classified. You can just see generally they all are originated from the seed eating birds. They may some are become the vegetarian, some become the non-vegetarian, some use some other types of fruits and plants in over there. So we can say that all these varieties evolved from the original species to different types of food available at the different islands. I mean generally these can be originated from the same bird, that is the seed eating finch, but they can be get the different types of food in those islands, in that island, in different places, so their beak is modified according to their eating habits. On the other hand, these animals have some other characters are also found over there. They are known as marsupial of the Australian, right? Generally if we talk about the marsupial of the Australia, especially as I have told you that the living oscillation long of neck, new kinds of finches and birds in the particular condition, but after that these marsupial organisms can also found over there. Means we can say the how a number of marsupials different from each other evolved from an ancestral stock all within the Australian Iceland continent. Generally पूरी ऑस्ट्रेलिया कॉन्टिनेंट के अंदर या आइसलैंड के अंदर जो मार्supial organisms हैं वो लगभग कॉमन एंसेस्टर से डेवलपमेंट हुए, लेकिन ड्यू टू देयर alternations they can be just different place to place according to their habitat, they can be changed in different ways, right? So if we talk about their development, right, means generally the parallel evolution can be occurs over there, especially in that parallel evolutions. Generally it can be referred to the independent development of the similar characters in two animals group, common ancestors living in similar habitat एंड डिफरेंट कॉन्टिनेंट्स. जनरली हम कह सकते हैं जो पहले एवोल्यूशन में क्या है, इट कैन बी डिपेंडेंट, राइट, इंडिपेंडेंट डेवलपमेंट ऑफ सिमिलर कैरेक्टर्स. अलग अलग ऑर्गेनिज्म में एक जैसे कैरेक्टर का डेवलपमेंट होना, क्यों? बिकॉज दे आर द टू एनिमल्स ग्रुप्स कॉमन एंसेस्टर, विच टू ऑल ग्रुप्स आर द कॉमन, देयर एंसेस्टर आर कॉमन वन, विच कैन बी सिमिलर हैबिटेट्स एंड डिफरेंट कॉन्टिनेंट. मीन्स सेम हैबिटेट्स आर फाउंड इन डिफरेंट continents are found, so they are the similar structures in their conditions. If we talk about generally there may be the parallel evolutions of Australian marsupials or placental mammals are given as you can just see in the diagram, right? So in that particular things the marsupial, Australian marsupials and the placental marsupials, they are the common one. Means these placental are they are in from some other continents one or some other islands, but these Australian marsupials they are found in especially in the Australia, right? But they can be found similarly, right, in different places. That's why we can say this is the parallel one. So as we can say, the marsupial mole in the Australia, but it is in different regions, that is known as mole one, right? If we can say numbat, that is banded anteater, in place of that it is only found into the, or evolved into the Australia, but in other places that becomes an anteater. Marsupial mouse, it can be just as the in placental structure, that is called the mouse one. Spotted cactus, that is lemur. So these all are the different organisms. Evenly so many times the question can be asked about the Tasmanian tiger cat, that is especially in placental mammals, that is called the bobcat, or Tasmanian wolf, that is called the wolf. So they can be just changed in that particular conditions. Means they parallelly evolved in different regions, in different adaptive conditions. Means evenly some animals are in Australia marsupials, and they can be just changed into the different places as the placental mammals in different places. One means generally they are the common characters in the particular conditions. One. So there is another thing, special thing, that is we can say the convergent evolutions, right? If we can say they can be found in different places. Convergent generally, as I have told you, that what about the convergent evolutions? Generally, when the analogous organs are results as a convergent evolutions. As I have told you, when the organs are anatomically different, but they can be so the functionally similar, right? In that particular conditions, we can say if it is the development of the similar adaptations, functional structures are unrelated groups of the organisms, right? So in that particular reason, they are known as convergent evolution, or as we can say the wings of insect, birds and bats, the spiny anteater, scaly anteater belong to the different orders of class Mammalia, but they have the acquired similar adaptations for food, right? Examples, you can say the leg ants, termites and the insects. Generally they can always feed on the same one. Even if they are a different one, but on the basis of the adaptation for the food, they are the common. Means both spiny anteater and the scaly anteater both can depends for their food. That is, we can say ants and the termites and the insects. Both they all can eat all those things, right? So we can say these are their adaptations on the basis of common one. Evenly, if we talk about the different these marsupial organisms, right? As you can see in the diagram, the placental marsupial and Australian marsupials, they can shows the adaptations is common. Nice means they can, if we talk about their nick where they are found over there. So they, but both moles and marsupial moles, they can be always survive into the burrow one. This nimbat anteater and laser anteater or scary anteater, they are always anteater one, but they can always depend on their food one, right? As this spotted cock, lemur. So why they are the convergent? Because their adaptation, that is just like the climbing or the flying squirrel or flying penguin, that both have the same common adaptations found in different places, in different regions of the world, but they can be done the same structures or the flying conditions, right? So these are the different conditions through which we can be sent. This is also a type of convergent type of. There is another that is known as orthopogenic evidences, in which we can directly say that the excess use of the herbicides, pesticides, right, has been resulted in the selections of the resistance varieties in a lesser time scale. As we can say, this can be also true for the microorganisms against which antibiotics or the drugs has been used. Means the different organisms can also becomes the resistance against such pesticide and herbicides. So we can say all these evidences tells us that the evolution is a stochastic process based on the chance events in the nature and chance mutation in the organism. Means evolution एक ऐसी प्रोसेस है जिसके अंतर्गत हम कह सकते हैं बहुत सारे ऐसे करेक्टर्स का म्यूटेंट होना या फिर गैदरिंग होना है, वेयर वी कैन से द नेचर एंड द चांस म्यूटेशन मीन जनरली उनके ऑर्गेनिजम्स के अंदर कुछ म्यूटेशन हो जाएगा, ड्यू टू विच वी कैन से it can be able to increases the such things. Evenly there is another thing which we can say, that is an artificial selection. Means generally according to this artificial selections, you all must know that if we talk about that human are created many varieties of the plants and animals for his use. So is the human can created a new species, why not the nature? Means generally we can say in generally the man is a domesticated person, he can always try to make the different wild animals and wild plants as the domesticated organisms, or we can say he also selected many plants and animals and carried out the intensive breeding programs. Means generally he started the breeding programs to raise the new varieties, to convert the these ancestors varieties into the new varieties of the plants and animals for agriculture, horticulture, sport of the different conditions. Evenly he has raised a number of high yielding breeds, as we know in our previous chapters, right? That Mohsana, Nili Surti, right? Jersey, Holstein, so many things, right? Means he just make the new high yielding varieties of the cow, buffalo, poultry, birds, so on. And he also developed the new varieties, high yielding varieties of the crop also, as you all in Pusha, Sonalika, IIR 8, Baichung. So these are different varieties of the wheat, rice and maize and pulses one. So why? Because this is an artificial selection. Means evenly we can say this artificial selection can also be helpful for the development of the new species, new varieties of the plants as well as of the animals. So we can say these are very necessary things for our development one. So we can say that these are the different things which are necessary for the evidences of the evolution. So on the basis of artificial selections, we can say that it is a process which is not direct, but it is a stochastic process, or we can say the chances or the probabilities process, that is based on the chance of events in the nature or the mutation in the different organisms. So we can say there's, as I have already told you, that the different orthopogenic substances, right? Especially as I have told you about in our previous topic, that is the evidences of the anthropogenic, right? Evidences, as you generally get examples of the mosquitoes, right? We all know that the mosquitoes can be always becomes a resistance against the DDT. Even the DDT started in the starting, it is a very good thing to kills the mosquitoes, but later on they will become the resist against that DDT. So we can say they can change themselves, they can mutate themselves against that particular thing. So you can understand about with the help of this one, as you can see in the diagram over there. Generally, if we talk the example of the bacteria, generally the bacteria can also show the such things. Means generally bacteria can how this bacteria can become the antibiotic resistance, because as we can see, whenever these bacteria can be utilized in different ways, right? So the, as you can see, there is a bacteria, and whenever the such thing can be found in their particular conditions, they will started to make them to change one, and later on in the last conditions here, right, they can all become the resistance against any antibiotic, because these varieties disease causing bacteria appearing in a very short period, but after later on they can becomes the resist, they can be make themselves change in their genetic material change, they will become the resist to the any type of chemical substances which can be utilized for to kill those bacteria, right? So these are the anthropogenic evidences which are found in our surroundings, right? So as we today talk about the different evidences in which we have talked about the anthropogenic, artificial selections, right, parallel evolutions and adaptive variations, as well as biochemical evidences, especially molecular homology, and biogeographical evidence. Means the adaptation, parallel evolution, they can be comes under the biogeographical evidences. So I think everybody will understand about all these topics, especially. So you all must try to read them properly. So many times this Darwin Finches questions can be asked, right? So you must remember that generally all kinds of Finches words are just developed, or they were seen by the Darwins in the Galapagos Island, where he observed that generally these all are developed from the large ground finches which are seed eating, but later on the basis of their eating habit, on the basis of their feeding habit, they will converted, they will change lots of changes in their beaks, so they become the different varieties. Evenly they are the common ancestors over there. So such adaptive radiations are found over there, which is generally famous as the Darwin finches. So students, you must prepare your notes and completely and just read one. Thank you.